1. The Indigenous Foundations, pre-Columbian era. Before European colonization, the entire region was home to thriving indigenous civilizations. Major groups included Amazonian tribes, Brazil, Venezuela, Colombia. Various groups, like the Yanomami, Tupi-Guarani, and Arawak, populated vast territories. The Muisca Confederation, Colombia, one of the most advanced societies in the region, known for gold working. The Mapuche, Argentina and Chile, a fiercely independent indigenous group that resisted Spanish conquest. Caribs, Venezuela and Caribbean coast. Seafaring warriors who controlled coastal regions. These indigenous groups form the foundation of Latin America's ethnic diversity. 2. The European invasion, 1492-1700s. The Spanish and Portuguese colonized the Americas starting in 1492. Over time, they brought Spaniards to most of South America, Portuguese to Brazil, Africans as enslaved laborers. The Spanish and Portuguese mixed with indigenous peoples, creating a new mixed race class known as mestizos, indigenous plus European. 3. The African influence, 1500s, 1800s. Africans were forcibly brought to the Americas through the transatlantic slave trade, especially to areas with plantation economies. Major destinations included Brazil, largest African diaspora in the Americas. Millions were enslaved to work in sugar plantations and gold mines. Colombia, African slaves were brought to work in coastal and mining regions. Venezuela, sugar, cocoa, and coffee plantations relied on enslaved Africans. Argentina, fewer African slaves, but still present in cities like Buenos Aires. Africans mixed with indigenous and European populations, leading to the rise of Afro-Latinos. Many enslaved Africans also escaped and formed maroon communities like Palenque in Colombia and Quilombo dos Palmares in Brazil. 4. The post-independence ethnic mix, 1800s, 1900s. After independence from Spain and Portugal, 1810 to 1830s, new waves of immigration reshaped Latin American identity. European immigration, late 1800s, early 1900s. Millions of Italians, Germans, Spaniards, and Eastern Europeans settled in South America, especially in Argentina, Brazil, and Venezuela. Asian immigration, 1800s to 1900s. Chinese, Japanese, and Lebanese immigrants added to the mix, especially in Brazil and Venezuela. As a result, countries like Argentina and Brazil became highly Europeanized, while Venezuela and Colombia remained more mixed with indigenous, African, and European influences. 5. The Afro-Latino experience and racism in South America. Afro-Latinos have faced a history of marginalization despite their cultural and historical contributions. Here's how Black Latinos have been treated. Brazil, the largest black population outside Africa. Though Brazil had racial mixing, systemic racism persists. Black Brazilians face poverty, police brutality, and discrimination, but Afro-Brazilian culture, like samba and capoeira, is highly influential. Colombia, Afro-Colombians, especially on the Pacific coast, have suffered from government neglect and violence in conflicts. Racism is deeply rooted in social hierarchies. Venezuela, though officially a racial democracy, Afro-Venezuelans face discrimination and economic struggles. Argentina. Argentina has a history of whitening policies. The African presence was erased through intermarriage, wars, and historical narratives that downplayed black contributions. Despite this, Afro-Latinos continue to shape culture, music like salsa and cumbia, and politics across Latin America. Conclusion. The modern Latino identity is a result of centuries of racial blending. Indigenous peoples, European colonizers, enslaved Africans, and later immigrants all contributed to a complex ethnic mix. The Afro-Latino experience, while often marginalized, is central to Latin America's culture. From music and dance to religious practices and resistance movements. Can they successfully deny or whitewash the black thread that runs throughout the fabric of South and Central America? Share your thoughts in the comments.